Just pretending to be Alice?
I am Alice.
Please, this isn't a game.
You don't like me. Make me hide and hide. You're a nasty little...
You have, like, classic monsters horror. You have gore and blood horror. You have action, camp horror, psychological thrillers, all that kind of stuff. I've never really been a big fan of horror. And, you know, the jump scares, the gore, the adrenaline rush, all that kind of stuff, I just never really got into it. Now, I can appreciate a well-crafted horror like Poltergeist or Babadook or The Exorcist. And even I myself, I really like the Halloween and Scream franchises. And my guilty pleasure is the Resident Evil series. I like that. But for horrors, I will always go ahead and actually take the perspective of being a casual viewer. It's just not usually my usual bag. So I'm going to take that perspective today as I'm going through the review. And while I'm going actually reviewing this Australian psychological horror thriller, Run Rabbit Run, I'll see if I can glean some main character perspective out of this movie as well to give you main characters of horror genre and give you guys a fair shake. You see, I go ahead and actually watch movies that are exclusive to streaming sites to see if they're worth your time. They're not in the theaters. They're only available on your streaming platform, so I'll go and actually take a look at them for you. If you like how that sounds, do me a favor, click like, share, subscribe. And now, let's get into this review. So, Run Rabbit Run premiered in June of 2023, and this was on Netflix. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 40 minutes, and it stars Sarah Snook, Lily LaTorre, and Neil Melville. And the story goes like this. As a fertility doctor, Sarah has a firm understanding of the cycle of life. However, when she is forced to make sense of the increasingly strange behavior of her young daughter, Sarah must challenge her own beliefs and confront a ghost from her past. Like always, I watched the movie first before reading anything about it. I always want no bias when experiencing these pieces of content. I have no expectations going in there when viewing this type of stuff. But now that I've read about it, looked at the synopsis, I have to say it's a bit misleading as to what they want, as where they want to go and actually take you versus where I believe the synopsis goes and actually makes it believe like this is a little bit different than the movie that it is. Not vastly different, but it is a little bit of a weird movie. Like, this is a psychological thriller horror that goes supernatural pretty quick, although you never quite know what's real and what's not. So it's a weird concept overall, and I don't know. I just don't think that there's even a good way to put it on a trailer. There would just have to be, if I was the person that had to edit for the trailer, I'd have to comb over the footage and really go and actually see if I could piece together the story while not revealing too much, and that would probably been a challenge. Now, when I'm coming into a movie like this as a casual viewer, I really have to feel the story or get good scares that are total misdirects. The more I get vested into the characters, the more drawn in I'll be for the movie. So the acting has to really be on point to get me. But if there's good action or gore, it'll sometimes make up for like poor acting or a poor story. However, main target audiences, as always, are looking for the scares. They're looking for like weird, creepy ones, or jump or gory scares, blatant or subtle. They want to feel the scare. They want to feel that adrenaline rush. And of course, a main target audience would like a good character over the story, as a main horror fan wants to cheer for survival, or maybe even a death in a good horror flick. So let's just go ahead and actually see if Run Rabbit Run runs away with a good verdict. Yes, that was a horrible attempt at a joke, but that's all I got for you. It's a horror thing. You know, I'm not great in that genre. So this movie is largely surrounding two people. The mom, Sarah, played by Sarah Snook, and her 7-year-old daughter, Mia, played by Lily LaTorre. And I kind of feel bad for Sarah on this one, because Lily basically acted circles around Sarah. And I believe it's because of the way that she's written. The Mia character is perfectly innocent in the beginning, but as the movie progresses, she becomes more withdrawn, more aggressive, and definitely dark. And that little girl did a good job with the creep factor. And this is without any kind of makeup or effects. She's just, she's a very good actress. Whereas Sarah wasn't bad, but she was written bad. Like, there are some good moments that stood out, but overall it was kind of like average. I'm hardly going to say that anybody else is worth mentioning. The acting could be considered, mid for this one. It's pretty decent or what have you, like a C plus type of range. If we put like a grade school grade on it or what have you, for at least for main characters, I think they give it like a C plus. Casuals were kind of like the girl is being like super creepy, and like everybody else is kind of like meh. I think that's the way that kind of pans out for everybody. Now, the story isn't particularly innovative. It addresses past trauma and how it's affected Sarah, the mother, over the years. And after the death of her father, she is slowly forced to confront it. The thing is, they have this woman just kind of being a horrible mother. Like, at first you're okay with her dealing with her situations with her daughter, but as things start to hash out and become revealed, this grown woman refuses to get help. She refuses to understand her impact on her daughter, and she does not cope well to aggression. She reacts horribly to various different situations, and it's crazy. Like, here's a spoiler for instance. There's a part in this movie where Sarah believes that she sees that Mia's hurt, and she's trying to kind of look at it, as a mother would do. Mia's resistant, and she kind of fights Sarah off, like, for whatever reason. She's just kind of like, get off me. Now, instead of like backing down or calming down, Sarah amps up her reaction to a point where she could potentially seriously hurt Mia. And she continues to double down on being like an emotionally stunted adult in most of her interactions, but especially as a mother. And while it can be somewhat understandable as an adult when you have dealt with past trauma, at some point you would hope that when you go ahead and actually start seeing red flags, at some point you got to start seeing some red flags when you are mentally and or physically harming your child. If you're a good person, there are people that are just truly evil, but we take Sarah as being, a good person because that's where we're presented. If you see that many red flags in yourself, if this is what you're doing to your daughter, you're causing them harm, it becomes incredulous. It's crazy because the overall story is okay, but the dialogue and direction for Sarah as the main character, I just don't like it. I just don't. I honestly believe that both mains and casuals will find this as being an average story at best. And just to kind of, give you like a real understanding of this, is that this mother being frustrating as a character is probably really what I think kind of ultimately shapes everything else that comes into this psychological thriller horror. Because you would think that with being a horror, is it really going to be that big of a deal with the mother? Yes, because her and the daughter are really the only two characters that we're interacting with. So if they're not written well, they're not directed well, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just not going to carry the same amount of weight. Because here's the thing, if the mother didn't have any like support, I could kind of somewhat justify her being like kind of stuck in a situation, she's losing it and it's what have you. But her ex-husband is in the picture, and he seems to be a pretty decent dude. So much so that like Sarah calls him a couple times when situations are happening with their daughter and stuff like that. But she's like too stubborn to include him all the way in, because he's kind of like gone on with his life with a new wife and stuff like that. So she just kind of grins and bear it. I just think that the way they phrased Sarah's character and her actions was bad, because it made her seem weaker than necessary to go and actually confront the issues and trauma and horror aspect of things that are laid out in this particular film. So that's kind of the way I feel about that. But let me give you my overall thought for Verdict. For mains, I'm going to go ahead and actually say give it a watch, maybe like on a lazy afternoon when you have nothing else to watch. It's not an urgent type of thing. It's okay to go and actually flick it on just to go ahead and actually out of curiosity. It's worth it to watch the little girl's acting and how she does this, because I think it's very good on that. And while the climax in and of itself is somewhat predictable, the ending kind of gives you that kind of like really? Why? And to kind of see if you like that ending, I think this is a movie where you I think a lot of people go and actually look at the movie in various different ways and try and argue if the ending was good. And I think a main target audience that's a fan of like psychological thrillers and horrors or what have you will have fun dissecting that ending. However, for casuals, I'm gonna say just skip it altogether. Outside of the little girl, there's not much else to glob onto. No jump scares, not much in the way of mystery that's usual in a psychological thriller horror that would really offer you to go ahead and actually, kind of play the mystery, fact-finding type of thing. And ultimately, you'll feel like there's something else in the genre that you might like versus watching this one. So again, for main target audiences, I'm going to go and actually say, watch it on lazy afternoon when you have nothing else to watch, just to give it a go and observe the young lady give a very good performance and to kind of argue those endings. And then for casuals, it's a skip it. But that's what I have for Run Rabbit Run on Netflix. Check it out.
That's it.
I appreciate you staying for the entire time. I really do. Matter of fact, do me a favor. Click like, share, subscribe. Really trying to grow the channel as it has been these last few months or so. Also do me a favor. Go ahead and actually click one of these videos right here that I've done for other reviews. Until the next time that I see you, I'll holla at you. Take care of yourself.